Hello, welcome to Your Minis. Now this video I want to talk about backdrops for your miniature photographs, and this is a video I was planning on doing in a few weeks time, but John Hodgson, who made these backdrop books that I just bought recently, is doing another Kickstarter right now. I didn't realise when I bought them a few weeks ago that he was going to be doing a Kickstarter, but they are, and they're doing some new books, including upgrading these to A3 size as well. So I thought I'd quickly put something together just to show you what can be done with these. Got my daughter acting as my lovely assistant here, turning the pages. And the whole idea behind these books is that John has made some watercolour style pictures which you can use as a backdrop for your miniatures. The theory is, if you use a painting with a painted miniature in front of it, it looks kind of more real, like it's supposed to be there. I had actually been thinking about taking some photos myself out in the wilderness and printing them off maybe on some big canvases or something and using those as backdrops for some minis. But then I found these online. I thought, well, that's going to save me a bunch of time, and they look great. But the theory is that these will look better than a photo that's been printed out, because with a photo you're going to have sort of a real landscape versus the miniature. It will make it obvious it's a miniature, whereas when you've got these painted prints, they'll go with a painted miniature and kind of it'll all fit together nicely. So these are the two books I have, the two that are available right now. And this is the basic setup. I've just done this on the dining room table. I've got a couple of these cool LED lights. I've got a decent camera there, but that's it really. You just have to prop it up a little bit, get it set just right, and it's all about deception. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, you've got it set up so that from a distance it all looks silly. You've just got things propped up on any old nonsense. But from the camera's perspective, you get this awesome looking scene, like this one. Now, I'm just going to get my excuses out of the way in case anything looks a bit dodgy. I did this really quickly this evening. As I said, I wasn't planning on making this video quite yet. I wanted to make a nice plinth and all that kind of stuff, but because the Kickstarter finishes in a few days, I thought I'd try and get this out quickly. So I just used stuff I had to hand. So I had a few bits of scenery handy. I had some models I painted recently. These are HeroQuest replacements that I've been painting up. I've got a series of replacing all the HeroQuest models. So these orcs, I thought I'd just stick them in this bit of scenery and take some photos. And the backdrops are great. It's really quick and easy to get something that looks pretty damn cool. You can see here I've just got this bit of terrain propped up on my kids' colouring box, and then the backdrop itself on a box of Kleenex. I mean, it's not particularly high tech from that point of view, but the results are wonderful. My previous photos of these orcs and goblins are all on a white background in a light box, which is how I normally take my miniature photos, because normally it's all about the models and how they look. And so, this all comes down to what you're trying to achieve. And if you want to have a real crisp picture of a model that you could put in White Dwarf magazine or whatever your magazine of choice is, then maybe you want to keep to the white background and light box. But to get something evocative and exciting, this is a really, really good option, and it's I'm to be honest blown away by it, and I'm blown away by how simple it is really. So for all of these photos, I'm using my Nikon D7500 camera, and I've got a 40mm Nikkor micro lens on it, so it's fixed. So here you see me just moving the backdrop forwards because it's not a zoom lens. I can't adjust that to get everything in the shot. All I can do is move the backdrop, move the model, move the camera, which kind of makes things a bit simpler in a way. And it's a nice lens for this sort of thing. I've got a bunch of different lenses. That's a whole nother conversation. So get something that you can place the model on, raise it up nicely like I have here, put it in front of the backdrop, and really that's it. Pop a model on and away you go. Now, as I say, I haven't made a plinth yet for putting the models on. That's something I'm going to do in the future. Handiwork Games have got stuff on their website to advise you on how to do that in a nice way. But this is a piece of terrain from Gale Force 9, and I've got a few of these bits. It came like this. It was all pre-made and pre-painted. It's a lovely piece of terrain. It works really well for this sort of stuff. And I've got my orcs on here, Orc War Boss, Big Mech and Mega Armor, you know, position them how you want. It's a good idea to have something that kind of hides the base room a little bit, I think, so it kind of gives the illusion that they are standing there. And you can see that I've played with the light a little bit here, and in that last photo, one of the lights, the battery ran out, but the other one was still on, and actually it looked really cool, having just the light from one direction. Not a good shot for showing off the model and the painting job, but to get something that looks evocative and cool, fantastic. And then I've changed scenery to another piece by Gale Force 9, stuck some old school Gretchen on it just because I really love the models. Not the best paint jobs because I didn't really quick, but you know, just for a bit of fun. And then this Death Dread, I took the same piece of terrain and turned it through 90 degrees so it looks completely different, and that's the whole thing. You could also move the backdrop around and you could have different views of the backdrop to get different things. And again, I'm playing with the lights with the Death Dread, and something to watch out for is how the lights shine off the paper. The paper's a bit satiny, so it can be a little bit reflective, so that's something to watch out for. Sometimes it might look cool, sometimes it might look a little bit ropey. Now, if you're into photography, you know that there are a huge number of things that I could be altering here. I could be changing lots and lots of things about it. Could be changing the tone of the lights, the light temperature and all that kind of stuff. I could be altering many different things to get different effects. And because I've done this all quickly, I haven't done that. But if you are new to photography, you shouldn't be too scared, because the back of the book has got a bit of an introduction to taking photos, which is a really useful thing to have. So I think that this book, or these books, they're pretty handy for anyone who is good at taking photos or someone that's new to it. You know, it'll work either way, I think. One thing I'm definitely looking forward to is using these backdrops to make photographs for D&D. Because when I run D&D sessions, I make these photos. I did this initially because we were running our D&D sessions during lockdowns. And then I just kind of got into the habit of it, and I was blogging about the games and everything, so it's quite handy to have the photos there. But these are all done on, as you can see, white backdrops with bits and pieces in there, really, in the models, to give a little bit of an impression of what the heroes could see. Just to, you know, I wanted to have an excuse to paint some models and take photos of them and then show them off to people and say, let's play a game, which is valid. Shut up, whatever. So anyway, these backdrops I think would be really cool to kind of enhance those and make it more interesting than the white background. So I've taken one of my D&D terrain pieces here, which is from Age of Sigmar originally. This photo shows one of the issues, which is if you've got the backdrop too close and the light's on there, you get a shadow potentially on the backdrop, so you need to make sure that you're not getting that. Here I was trying to get it in the frame, really. This is showing the sort of issue of having an A4 piece of paper, so I'm really glad that the new books and the Kickstarter are going to be A3, because you can have large terrain pieces like this with an A3 piece of paper behind it and it will look awesome. But I think I managed to finally, after a bit of mucking about, get an angle that I liked on this terrain piece with this backdrop in the background, and it looks really cool. I just can't wait to get an A3 version of that, so I can kind of have a little bit more space to play with, zoom out a little bit and all that kind of stuff. I can make some fantastic scenes, I think, when that comes through. So this is just a quick look at the Kickstarter page itself. As I say, they're doing A4 books of the new things, and you can get the old ones as well. But the A3 ones are the ones that are kind of exciting me more. But I think for doing single miniature photographs, the A4 books are really good, so I'll probably end up getting A4s and A3s of all the new books. Probably. Because I just think they're amazing. It's really blown my mind using these, and like I say, I just grabbed anything that I had to hand to take these photos this evening without spending too much time over it, and I think the results are brilliant. That Grendel model, they're showing how that they've done it in the same sort of way that I've been doing it. A few extra pieces of terrain kind of in front to give a bit more perspective. I think that's a really good idea. But that Grendel model, I've got that Grendel model from Fenris Games. I did their Kickstarter ages ago, and I still haven't painted the bloody thing. I really should. It's a lovely model. Anyway, I think that if you like taking photos of miniatures, then it's really worth having a look at this Kickstarter. You might decide that just one book is good for you. You know, if you're doing 40k or something like that, something sci-fi or post-apocalyptic, you only really need the futuristic-y type ones. And if you're only doing fantasy, the other. But yeah, I'm really quite impressed by these little books, and I'm looking forward to, you know, making a couple of other plinths. I mean, particularly like some sort of grassy plinth that will fit in with the rolling hills and all that kind of stuff, to do something with, you know, outdoorsy type stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it really. This has been a really quick video for me. It's unusual to suddenly do something so quickly, but I thought it's worth doing because the Kickstarter is nearly over. So if you are watching this after February 2024, then Kickstarter's done, but you can always go on the Handiworks website and buy one there. And this video is not sponsored by them or anything. I just bought those great couple of books a few weeks back, and planned on doing something with them, and then saw the Kickstarter pop up. So you know, it's not affiliated anyway. I just think they're brilliant. So go check it out. Well, thanks very much, and I will see you next time. Bye.